Hey guys, and welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Kylie. I go by Kai, and welcome to my library. I'll be posting videos about book reviews, book hauls. Today I'm going over all the books that I read in 2021. If you like my videos, subscribe, be notified when I post new videos, like this video, comment, share it. I don't know. New at this, you're gonna have to bear with me. But I figured we could go over all the books that I read in 2021, which is 74, and I'm really proud of myself because I only started reading again in June. So, let's get into it, my dude. Please bear with me. Starting off strong. Sorry, I have my Goodreads pulled up in front of me because some of the books that I have read I don't have because I've either read them on my Kindle or I've lent them to a friend. So, first up, coming in hot, I read the Harry Potter series. It was a reread. I love these books. I am forever a Harry Potter nerd. I went to the Harry Potter store in New York with my fiance. Yes, I went twice. It was beautiful. I don't really know what else to say about these books. I mean, they've been around for a while. A lot of people have read them. If I had to pick a favorite book out of the series, I would probably say Goblet of Fire. I don't think the movie did it enough justice, like, at all. It was so much better than the movie. Like, the movie was good, don't get me wrong, but the way that everything was explained in the book, so much better. But I really like all of them. It's all a nostalgic feeling for all of them. I'm pretty sure I gave all of them at least 4 stars, if not all of them 5 stars, because I love them. I think I put The Order of the Phoenix was not as good as the movie. I was kind of disappointed because The Order of the Phoenix is my favorite movie, along with Prisoner of Azkaban. And I feel like it didn't live up to the hype. I did. I put it 4 stars because I felt like it didn't live up to the hype, and that made me so sad. Because, like I said, Order of the Phoenix is one of my favorite Harry Potter movies. So, it's kind of depressing, but it's fine. It's fine. I got this amazing box set from Barnes & Noble of the Hogwarts Library. And it's got Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. It's got Quidditch Through the Ages. And then it's got Tales of Beetle and Bard. And Tales of Beetle... What? The Tales of Beetle the Bard. I thought it was... That's depressing. I've been living my whole life as a lie. Anyway. Short, light reads. I thought they were really good. I love being able to immerse myself in the Harry Potter world and learn more about it. The Tales of Beetle and the Bard. I'm just going to call it the Tales of Beetle and the Bard, okay? That's just what I've always known it to be. I really loved being able to read this book because it was utilized so much and talked about so much in this last movie. So I don't know. Really, like, struck home with me, you know? Who doesn't love Quidditch, obviously. It's cool to know the history. I'm pretty sure I didn't put this as read. So I'm pretty sure I've already hit my goal of 75. So that'd be cool. Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. Self-explanatory. I love being able to go through and see and read about the different creatures that are involved in the Harry Potter world. My favorite is probably the Niffler or the Hippogriffs. Buckbeak just like holds a special place in my heart. Can't help it. Next, I read the Beautiful Creatures series. This has been out for a while. I'm pretty sure I originally read the first book when I was in like middle school, which has been several years now. But I really liked the first 2 books. I'm pretty sure I stayed up reading them. Like, I could not go to sleep until I finished them. I've already read Beautiful Creatures several times. I've seen the movie. The movie doesn't do the book justice. Wish they would have continued on with it. The Beautiful Darkness was good. Beautiful Chaos was the 3rd one. I gave it 4 stars. I'm pretty sure that I liked it. I just didn't love it. And then Beautiful Redemption was the last book. I'm pretty sure I also gave this one 4 stars. Again, liked it, didn't love it. But the first 2 books got 5 stars. My brain, not working today. But if you don't know what this series is about, I suggest looking it up. It's a nice read. Is it perfect? No. I've heard mixed reviews about it. The back of the first book says, I don't know what you would classify this book as, like young adult, fantasy, kind of, like witchcraft, kind of. I cried during certain parts of this book. Hurt me to my core. Oh no. Oh no. So I've been a fan of Colleen Hoover for a very long time. I first read her book Hopeless probably when it first came out when I was in middle school, okay? I was probably like 13 years old. I hadn't read another book of hers since then. Like, it had been a while. But you also have to remember that I stopped reading pretty much once I graduated high school, even maybe a little bit before that, because I was taking college classes my junior and senior year. I just didn't have time to read. So I cannot tell you how exciting it has been to get back into reading this year. Like, this has been a big, like, life-changing year this year. Like, getting back into reading, being able to read so many amazing books, because I love to read. I'm a book nerd. Anyway, so I read It Ends With Us. This was what got me back into Colleen Hoover. This was the first book I read of hers in years. Did I read this one first? I might have read November. Okay, anyway, I read these two books, okay? And they got me back into Colleen Hoover. Regardless of which order I read them in, I think I read this one first. And then It Ends With Us. Either way, I read them both on the same day. I'll start with November 9th. I tapped November 9th because I reread it on November 9th. I was very proud of myself. I didn't think I could do it. I love Ben and Fallon. I love this story. Colleen Hoover always never disappoints with the plot twists and things that happen in the book. This beautiful new cover that I got when I was in New York. I had to have it. Can't wait for her All Your Perfects new cover to come out. But this book has been all over TikTok. If you haven't read it, please go read it. Like, please go check out Colleen Hoover. She is definitely worth the hype, even though she herself tries to tell you she's not worth the hype, but she is. I rated it 5 stars, obviously. And then It Ends With Us, same thing. It's been all over TikTok. If you haven't read it, please, please read it. When I first started reading it, it's kind of going to be a spoiler warning. I was Team Ryle because I had read on TikTok somewhere that that's who she ended up with. So I was like, okay, that's who she's going to end up with. Like, I have to like this guy. Of course, everyone knows what happens. And I really need to reread this book. And I'm really hoping she comes up with a sequel. For obvious reasons if you've read this book. But obviously I'm not Team Ryle anymore. So before you come in the comments friggin' hating on me, I'm not Team Ryle anymore. That man is trash. Anyway, continuing on. I give this 5 stars. I love Colleen Hoover. Seriously, this is probably one of her best books. She always knows how to hit the hard topics and really bring awareness to stuff. This one was basically dedicated to her mom and about her own life experiences. Seriously, go check it out. It's so good. I really need to reread it. I'm gonna put that on my 2022 list. Oh no. I read this next series kind of broken up, but I'm gonna just do it all at once. So, okay. I'm gonna cry. I read the Throne of Glass series next, on and off, because I read it with a reading buddy. I really need to reread this series already. So I read The Assassin's Blade first. I'm glad that I did because I had no clue what was going on. I didn't know what I was getting myself into. This was like my first hop back into fantasy of something besides Harry Potter. So I was really worried I wasn't gonna like it. I love this series, okay? I gave Assassin's Blade 4 out of 5 stars just because I was really confused. I didn't know what was going on. There's nothing wrong with this book. There's just something wrong with me. Anyway, I believe same thing. I gave Throne of Glass 4 stars, but why? I don't remember. Really need to go back and reread it. But I think it's just because I was confused. I didn't really know what was going on. It took me a minute to get into because, again, I had not read fantasy in a while besides Harry Potter. So, yeah. This book was like scratching the surface of what hurt me. Like, this book started all the pain. I did. I gave it 5 stars. Proud of myself. Yes. That's all I have to say. Just yes. And then I read Heir of Fire. And I met Rowan, and all felt right with the world. This was also the first book in the series to make me sob. Yeah. No comment. 5 stars. No, I have no fracking words. Okay. And then this next book is probably one of my favorite in the series, and this one made me sob like there was no tomorrow. It was terrible. Queen of Shadows. This one was so good. Okay. I just loved this book. I loved it, and I sobbed like a baby. The whole series was so good and so put together. But anyway, if you know, you know. Chillax. And then next I did a tandem read of Tower of Dawn and Empire of Storms. K.O. is not my favorite at this point, okay? Like, did not like him. Tower of Dawn gave me a whole new insight, and I started to like him more towards the end of it. Still not my favorite, but still not my least favorite, you know what I mean? Empire of Storms just ripped my entire soul out, and I felt like I was gonna die. I gave them both. I gave Tower of Dawn 4 stars just because it took me a minute to get into, because I was not K.O. Like, I don't like that man. He's okay now, but at the point when I started reading it, I was like, Anyway. This is the thickest book I've read in a while. Kingdom of Ash was not as heartbreaking as I thought it was going to be. Don't get me wrong, it still destroyed my soul, but Empire of Storms and Queen of Shadows, that was just a whole, like, just hurt me so bad. This whole series, like, Sarah J Maas can pay for my therapy, because I'm gonna need it after reading her books. But Kingdom of Ash was really good. Like, it tied everything together and was a really good ending to the story, like the series. Do I still want more of the characters? Oh, always. I had the biggest book hangover after I finished this book. I really need to go back and reread it. I love these characters. My heart kind of hurts thinking about it. Anyway, we're gonna move on before I start to cry. I don't have the physical copy of the book because I lent it to my friend, but then I read The Deal by Elle Kennedy, okay? I'm gonna try to put a picture of it here. Don't know how good my editing skills are, so if you don't see a picture here, don't judge me. The Deal got me into sports romances, and it got me into hockey, okay? Hockey is probably my favorite sport now, because it's like the one sport I can get behind, because one, there's like barely any rules. As far as I know. I went to a Cincinnati Cyclones game, and they fought about 4 times, and it was like the most exhilarating sports event I've ever been to, which I've only been to 1, but that's not the point. 2, hockey players, fine. End of the line. Anyway, I'm Team Garrett Graham until the end of the line. Like, that man, fine. Yeah, The Deal is probably my favorite in the off-campus series, which let me just go through all of them now while I'm on the topic, even though I read them out of order. So I read The Deal after I read the Throne of Glass series, but then I reread it like a week or 2 ago, even if then, and then I read all the rest of the books, but again, I don't have them, so I'll put them here if I'm good at editing. The second book is The Mistake. I think that I gave it 5 stars. I liked Logan and Grace. It wasn't my favorite, like, story of the couples. Like, obviously not better than Garrett and Hannah, but I still loved it nonetheless. Like, it was really good. And then I read The Score, and it was the 3rd one. And it was about Dean and Allie. Not my favorite couple. Honestly, like, I gave it 4 stars. Like, Dean and Allie were not really my favorite. I felt like they were just all kind of about sex, and their relationship didn't really have any depth to it, so don't come for me if you're Team Dean, but to this day, I'm still not Team Dean. I just can't get behind it. And then The Ghoul! I love Sabrina and Tucker, okay? Sabrina and Tucker and Garrett and Hannah, 2 favorites. I love them. I knew that The Ghoul was going to be good. I was not disappointed. I gave that book 5 stars. It was so good. And then I read The Legacy. I was really heartbroken by this book. I gave it 3 stars, and that was really hard for me because I have loved every single other book in the Off-Campus series, but I just feel like I didn't get enough in this. Still didn't like Allie and Dean. I feel like a lot of the character moments were out of character, if that makes sense. Like stuff that happened in Garrett and Hannah's story didn't feel right for me. Logan and Grace didn't really, like, their story was good, didn't surprise me. I was pleased with their story. Allie and Dean, not really my favorite. Sabrina and Tucker, I felt like they deserved better on their story. I felt like they were gypped. So I just feel like there could have been, I was so sad, okay? That's all I have to say. If you had a different opinion, you think this was good, like you thought it was better than I thought it was, comment down below. I'd love to know what you thought about it. You can also go read my review on Goodreads because I'm pretty sure I gave it a review. Because I was like, oh, you know, I didn't think anything of it. And then I went to go read other reviews and I was like, oh, I'm glad I'm not the only one who felt like that. So I read Finding Perfect, Finding Cinderella, and All Your Perfects. They pretty much go together. They're standalone books, but they go together. Like there's connected same characters in the books. Finding Cinderella and Finding Your Perfect, very short reads. As you can see, I gave them 5 stars. I really liked them. My Finding Perfect book is actually signed. I first read it on Kindle, and then I saw that she had this on sale on her website, and I was like, yes, okay, I need it in physical copy anyway. Why not get it signed? So I did. Colleen Hoover is my favorite author. Hands down. And then I read All Your Perfects. Trigger warnings if you're going to read this book. About like infertility, infidelity, stuff like that. I can't wait for the new cover of the book to come out. If you've seen it, it's beautiful. If not, I'll try to put it here again. I don't know how good my editing skills are. Bear with me. This book was heavy. I really need to reread it again because I wonder if I'd still give it 4 stars. Like I wonder if I'd give it 5 if I reread it. It's a lot of favorites for people. I really need to go back and read it. I don't really remember why I gave it 4 stars, but Colleen Hoover really never disappoints me. Like I could never imagine giving anything she does less than 3 stars. So anyway, moving on. Can't dwell on the past. Next I read Ice Planet Barbarians. Oh, I gave that book 3 stars. Y'all, it was so bad. I let my friend convince me to read it, so I read it on Kindle Unlimited because all like 22 books are on Kindle Unlimited. I tried to tell my coworker about it. She's like, so you're reading alien porn? Awesome. Like, great. Don't get me wrong though. I did buy the paperback version of it because that cover is beautiful. I lent it to a friend, so I don't have that physical copy either. And that book's all over TikTok, and I'm not even gonna get into detail about what that book's about, so you're gonna have to just check it out, okay? Oh, I read Birthday Girl by Penelope Douglas. Age gap, spicy. That book didn't disappoint. I'd seen it all over TikTok. So good. I don't have a physical copy again. I lent it to a friend because I'm just that awesome. If you haven't told already by my video, I'm not really good at explaining books. If you guys want more explanations, let me know. I can try to do that in my next videos. I can read the backs of the books. Just let me know what would be best for you guys to make my videos better. Anyway, and then I read Heartbones, and this is probably one of my favorite Colleen Hoover books. It was so good. I am a sucker for like beach themed books, so this really delivered. And Colleen Hoover always has a way of getting the title in her book somehow. Like All Your Perfects, that was mentioned in the book. Finding Perfect, that was mentioned. You know, Finding Cinderella, Hopeless, It Ends With Us, November 9th. Like, it all has ways that it comes back. Like, she will tell you why she named the book what she named it. So, if you haven't checked this out, please go check it out. I love it. Such a good book. Never disappoints, I'm telling you what. And then I read Legally Blonde. Based off the movie. Or the book that the movie is based off of. Anyway, I gave the book, I'm pretty sure I gave it 2 stars. That book was awful. I am so sorry to the author of that book. But as soon as I finished that book, I got rid of it. Because I read it and I was so thoroughly disappointed. Because it was nothing like the movie. The movie is one of my favorites of all time. And it really disappointed me. Like, I was trying to read it and finish it to say that I had read it. And to be able to compare it to the movie is so much better. Like, this is one of those instances where the book is not better than the movie. Like, absolutely not. No. Next, I read Verity, and I read Ugly Love. I think I gave Ugly Love 4 stars. This is a lot of people's favorites. For me, it just didn't compare to It Ends With Us and Heartbones for me. I need to go back and reread it again. It's been a while since I've read it. I might change my mind. Sometimes it takes me a read again in a book to really be able to appreciate what's going on. Don't get me wrong, I love Miles and Tate, but this one was not my favorite. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Verity, this book messed up my whole life. I'm team manuscript till the day I die. You cannot convince me otherwise, okay? Sorry. Verity is insane. Anyway, go read this book. Check the trigger warnings. This book is wild. Let me tell you. Cannot wait for Colleen Hoover to make another book like this. Honestly, go check out anything by Colleen Hoover. That woman is a genius. I read After, and After We Collided. I started After We Fell, but honestly, this book series is so toxic. Don't get me wrong, like, I like to read about, like, toxic relationships and, like, the mafia boss and, like, you know what I mean, whatever. But there's a point where the toxic relationship has to stop being toxic and it has to get better. Like, you can't just be toxic forever. Middle school days. Oh, where is it? Let's see if I can find it. The Hush Hush series. This is not in order. I'm just showing them all to you so I can show them all to you. I liked this series. I tried to read Fallen, another series that I remember from middle school, but it sounded so similar to this, I couldn't. I love Patch and Nora. I'm pretty sure, if I remember right, that something is coming out. Like Hush Hush is being turned into like a series or a TV, like a movie. Don't quote me on that, I don't know. I'm pretty sure I gave all these books anywhere from 4 to 5 stars. I don't remember. Don't quote me on that. They're really good. Obviously, if you can't tell what the book's about, Patch is a fallen angel. And then there's Nora. It's your average girl. And if you have read this series, I literally had characters like celebrities who I thought that the characters were like. Patch was Austin Butler to me. That's who I imagined. And then the actress that plays Malia Hale, that was Nora from Teen Wolf. And then Scott was Alex Pettyfer to me. So, it helps me when I'm reading a book. When I'm reading a book, if I can be able to visualize people in my head. Like, I just finished a series, and when I was reading it, I messaged the author and I was like, hey, do you have an idea of what these characters look like so I can try to imagine them, because it's an arc. And I'll get to that. The book hadn't come out yet, and I wanted to know if she had any inspiration behind it. But we'll get to that, because I read that book just recently and I want to talk to you about it. Next up is Hopeless. I've had this book forever. I really needed to reread it because it's the first Colleen Hoover book I ever read, and I still love this book. It is my absolute favorite. I love Sky. I love Holder. Check the trigger warnings on this. Trigger warnings on this along with any other Colleen Hoover book you're going to read. Because like I've said before, she talks about really, you know, real subjects, and yeah. Anyway. And then I saw The Hating Game from TikTok, and I'm like, fine, I'm going to give it a shot. It didn't disappoint. It was so good. I loved this book, and I still have yet to see the movie. I've heard that the movie did really good justice for the book, and it kept it pretty similar to it, so I'm really excited to see the characters that I loved in this book on screen. Like I said, I was really afraid I wasn't going to like it. I hadn't really read any other romances this year besides, you know, Colleen Hoover, and I was really nervous to get in like my first contemporary romance, but it was so good. So good. So good. And then I read the Wicked series, and I had never heard of this series before, but I saw it when I went to Half Price Books, and it looked very interesting, so I decided to read it. It's basically about witchcraft, and I seriously have never learned so much about witchcraft. I feel like I learned so insanely much from this series that I didn't know before, and I thought it was really good. So if you really want to know more about witchcraft, you like those kinds of books, definitely check out the Wicked series. They were very good. No complaints. Did I have a complaint? I don't think I had a complaint. I think I rated them anywhere from 4 to 5 stars. And then it kind of went downhill from there. Just for a minute. I read The Twin, and I got rid of that book because everyone was like, oh, check out Natasha, what was her name? Preston, check her out. I think that was her name. They're like, check her out. Everyone on TikTok was telling me, oh, she's my favorite author. And I'm like, okay. I'm a hoe for psychological thrillers. I love psychological thrillers. So it just disappointed me. The ending was not good. It had all this build up. No bang at the end like I expected it to. Did not end like I expected it to. It was very disappointing. I had the seller, gave it to a coworker to read. She said the same thing about that book, you know, really good beginning, and then the ending was kind of just fell flat. So I'm going to be getting rid of the seller as soon as I probably get it back from my coworker. Sorry if anybody really likes her. She just wasn't for me. And then next I read Credence by Penelope Douglas. I don't have it, lent it to a friend. Check that book's trigger warnings because a lot of controversy about that book. I literally bought it at Barnes & Noble, and they were like, you might want to like read about that book before you read that book. And I was like, okay. Like I'd already heard what it was about, so it didn't bother me. But I can see where people have issues. So anyway, moving on. And then I read The Midnight Library, and I read it on a day when I had called off work and I was really in a like bad funk, and it helped me get out of the funk. This book was so good. Probably going to be my favorite book for a while. Like probably going to be top 10 book for a really long time. I absolutely, positively loved this book. I literally put the Bell Jar vibes because it reminds me somewhat of The Bell Jar by Sylvia Plath. This book definitely deserves the hype. You guys have to go check it out. It was so good. I forever love it. And then on a recommendation from a coworker, I read Gone Girl. I've not seen the movie. I still need to see the movie. Again, I'm a hoe for psychological thrillers. This book messed me up. I did not expect some of the twists that came in it, okay? I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars just because I was pissed at the ending. If you've read this book, you know what I'm speaking of. But this author is very good. The book didn't disappoint. I can't wait to check out the movie. And then on my Kindle, I don't have them on there anymore. I returned them to my shelf, but I'm buying the physical copy. I read the Ravenhood series. Oh, pain. Just pain. Okay. If you have not read the Ravenhood series yet, I recommend going into it blind. I had no idea what these books were about. I had read the, like the blurb that they give you, on like Goodreads and stuff like that, but I literally had no idea what the books were about, and I loved that. I gave all of them 5 stars. Oh, pain, just pain. For anyone that's read them, I'm Sean, like Team Sean, ride or die until the end of my life. Anyway, moving on. I can't spend too much time talking about those books. Oh. And then I read Love and Other Words. This is my first Christina Lauren book that I had read. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. It wasn't my favorite, but I really enjoyed it. Childhood, Friends to Lovers. I really need to go back and read this book because one of my book talk friends really loves this book. Again, like I said, sometimes it takes me a reread to fully appreciate what I am reading. Anyway, moving on. And then I read Layla by Colleen Hoover. This book was a paranormal romance. I guess that's how you'd explain it. But it was very good. This was like her first time writing something like this, and she did not disappoint. I gave it 5 stars. I thought it was really good. Had me on the edge of my seat the entire time. Did not expect some of the stuff that happened in this book. Gonna mess me up. Just like Verity. And then I read The Silent Patient. I lent that to a coworker. That book was freaking wild. I gave that book 5 stars. I did not expect the twist that happened in that series. Oh my gosh, that was so good. Can't wait to read The Maidens. You guys have to check The Silent Patient out. There's a reason why it is so hyped. Then I read November 9th again by Colleen Hoover. And then I've always been a really big Nicholas Sparks fan, so I decided to read 2 by 2. I'd had it on my shelf for a while. I'd never read it. It's basically about a single dad trying to, well, he's not a single dad, okay? He's like a dad going through a divorce, but he's the one mainly raising his daughter. His wife is like kind of out of the picture. He doesn't have a job. He doesn't have a wife. He's caring for his daughter by himself. So it's basically all the struggles he has to go through. This book made me cry. You have to read it or look into it and understand what I really mean. Like, his wife is still around, but she's not. Like, they end up getting a divorce. It's very hard to explain what happens in this book. Again, I'm not really good at explaining the book, but you have to check it out. Nicholas Sparks has never disappointed me. I always like his books. And then I read My Baby, the ACOTAR series. I know. I'm not gonna cry. I loved this series. Absolutely loved this series, okay? My mother-in-law got me a shirt for Christmas, and it says, to the stars that listen and the dreams that are answered. And I could cry. My heart is just so full and destroyed after reading this series. Thought the first book was really good. The second book is one of my favorites. I bawled my eyes out at this book, okay? Absolutely destroyed me. Again, Sarah J. Maas can pay for my frickin' therapy. This book, that was a very cute short read. A lot of people didn't like it because it was a novella and it wasn't all actiony and blah, blah, blah. But I thought it was a nice change of pace and something to put between this freaking heartbreak and the heartbreak that this one caused me. This one had me sobbing too. Destroyed. Okay. Overall, the series was so good. I cannot wait to read it again. I cannot wait to watch the series on Hulu. And if they mess it up, I'm suing. End of story. After I read ACOTAR, I decided to finally hop on the train and read The Love Hypothesis. I loved this book. I seriously feel like she did a really good job talking about like the academic side of things and romance and stuff like that, because she was in STEM herself. So I loved this book. It was so good. So good. So good. Yes. And then I read If We Were Villains. I did not like that book at all. Absolutely not. I thought the ending was left on a cliffhanger, and then the author is not coming out with another book. End of story. So that was kind of frustrating. That book was just very disappointing. I just didn't like it. It did not live up to the hype for me. I already sold it. Don't come for me if you liked that book. If you like Dark Academia or like Shakespeare, theater, art kind of stuff like that, then it's for you, but it just was not for me. I didn't like it. And then I read The New Neighbor. It was an ARC that I received from NetGalley by Karen Cleveland. It was a psychological thriller. I thought that it was really good. I believe that I gave it 4 stars because there was just a lot of things that I felt like were left unanswered, if that makes sense. Like, I feel like the ending could have been a lot better than it was. Like I said, 4 out of 5 stars. Psychological thriller. Kind of like FBI, CIA stuff involved in it. I thought it was really good. And then I got my book of the month, my first book of the month, and I decided to get A Flicker in the Dark. This book is another psychological thriller, and it is so good. 5 out of 5 stars. Oh my gosh. I did not expect the twists that came with this book. And I cannot wait to see what else this author comes out with. Holy cow, this book was so good. If you are not someone that has book of the month yet, I suggest you get it and get this book. It was so good. Yes. And then I read A Good Girl Complex on my Kindle, and I loved it. It was by Elle Kennedy. I got the ARC. It comes out in February. It is basically like beach vibes, and y'all know how I feel after reading Heartbones, like how I feel about the beach vibes, and it kind of gave me after vibes. So I get what people are saying about like, ooh, they didn't really like it, but I really enjoyed it. I'm kind of hoping that Elle Kennedy does what she did with the Off-Campus series, and we get more of them in like other books that are based off the other characters, because I feel like I didn't get enough of Cooper and Mackenzie. I feel like I did not get enough of them. I feel like I wanted more of them. So I'm really hoping that I get more of them. But I thought it was so good. Like, she definitely lived up to the hype for me. I know it wasn't everyone's favorite, but she lived up to the hype for me. And then I read, I'm still reading this series, the 50 Shades of Grey series. I finally read the first book. My aunt gave these to me in August. I've seen all the movies. I have all the movies on my MacBook. I feel like the movies did a really good job with the first book. I'm reading the second book now. I'm only about like 60 pages in, if that. It's an erotic romance, so I feel like there's always a lot of stigma about it. So I always get nervous, like telling people like, oh yeah, I have the 50 Shades movies, and oh yes, I read the books. There are some spicier romances than the 50 Shades books. Please, like, no. Like, there's other stuff out there that's way spicier and more descriptive than that. Like, but I really enjoy it, not for the sex. I enjoy it because of the story and the character development, and yes. And it's really nice to be able to picture Christian Grey in my head from the movies, because that man is fine. Anyway. Lastly, I read Alice in Wonderland. Okay, it's an Alice in Wonderland retelling. It's called Alice in the Land of Clovers. Alice, pick a card. It's the first in a series. I got it from Book Sirens. I had 2 weeks to read it, and I was like, you know, I'm just gonna read it now. It was a short read, but I felt like it was very good. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. It took me a minute to get into, just because like the speak was kind of different. I read a lot of like modern books, if that makes sense, and this was set in like the 1940s in England. So it took me some time to get into that, but I thought she did an amazing job of retelling Alice in Wonderland, and I feel like, again, she just did a really great job. And she's the author that I messaged, and I was like, hey, who are your muses for these characters? Because basically, like, the Cheshire Cat and the Mad Hatter and the White Rabbit, they're all in, like, human form now. So I wanted to know, like, what she pictured them as. So I have a really hard time, like, making up characters in my head. Like, I like to see, like, a, you know, like, a set in stone picture of, like, what the characters looked like. But those were all the books that I read this year. I had a really good year. Like I said, it was really nice getting back into reading. I cannot wait to see what 2022 has in store. There's a lot of good books coming out. Reminders of Him by Colleen Hoover. The second book to Crescent City is coming out. I haven't read Crescent City, but I heard it's so good. It's on my list to read next year. If you guys have read any of these books, oh, I'm dying. If you guys have read any of these books, comment below. Let me know what you think. If there's a certain book where you're like, hey, I want to know what that book's about more, let me know. I can make a video. I can comment to you. Just let me know if there's something else you guys want to know more about these books. Thank you guys for watching. If you've stayed watching this entire video, please like, comment, subscribe, share this video. Yeah, so thank you guys for checking out my channel and my first ever video. I can't wait to bring you guys more.